What's going on, my friends? It's a rainy day here. Gonna do the second coat, but I need to do a little bit of sanding and scraping. I tell you that water is an issue on my property and it's not good. I've got to get that guy back out here. We get this house done. I've got to get the talked about doing the mortar at concrete and lip up from between under my house to keep that water from coming in. I'm gonna have to really do it. Water's going up under the house. It's kind of downhill on this side of the house and on the front side, so I got to figure out how to get that stuff diverted. It's not good. One way or the other, it'll get done. But right now, we're just going to get this house done, and then one thing at a time. So we're going to do some sanding here and see what we can do. We'll get this ceiling taken care of, and then we'll get the walls in here and get it mud and taped. So see what we can do. What's going on, my friends? I am back again. It's been a few days, 4 or 5 days to be exact, since I was back here last. Just trying to fit in some time to get up here. This evening, my main goal is just to do some checking, some sanding, and some marking where key points. Because they always say in this drywall, if you look at the ceiling, I've made some progress, kind of fanned out. Sorry, I'm just moving my camera tripod here. Some fanned out some of these butt joints. I probably have to do it a little bit more, but concentrate on, they say just put your hand on it. If you feel any recessed areas, any bevels downward, mark those gaps. I mean, as inexperienced as I am, I've got to take a Sharpie marker, just dot to the side as key points, because there are points where it's level and it's smooth and there's really nothing more I need to do except just get those edges and make sure they're good. The screws are done. I can tell you right now they're done, because there's very little screws that I'm seeing when it comes to circles. And I see circles on some of these, but I don't see any darkness. They say in those screws, when you're as everyone is always saying, when you do your screws after your third coat, you're may see a circle, but if you don't see the darkness in them, that's the screw head, then you're good. Some people prefer not to see the screws at all and just a solid white thing. And the majority of all these are all a solid white surface, so they're covered. But the surface is smooth enough that, the screws are pretty much done. So we're good with that. That's a lot of work. I can get this ceiling done before Clancy and I get in here and finish the walls. It's going to make mudding and taping these walls so much easier. It really will. Getting it done, because I can get everything taped to get all my corners in. The corners are going to be easier. I was watching more videos on the corners. It's, I don't have any in here with me, but it's called Straight Flex. So if you're looking to do this and you want to do your corners and your own drywall and mud, look up Straight Flex Original. It's like you can use it you can literally use Straight Flex as tape for the joints, but I would not recommend that. They say you could do it. It would be easy. You can fan it out. You don't have to mud the center of it, but I would just take the fiber fuse and hang on 1 second. This, my friends, is fiber fuse. And people say, oh, you can't use mesh. This is not it's a fiberglass base, but it's a mat. It's tape, a mat. It's not mesh. This stuff is so easy. It's so thin. It lays so thin, thinner than tape, they say. And what it does is it fuses into the mud to a point where you don't have to worry about getting enough mud up under it, because it's going to go through it. And if once you get enough mud, it sinks in. Even if you get a dry spot and you tape it as much as you can, first coat's going to get your first coat's going to get any of those dry spots, because you don't have to worry about the dry spots on this, because with paper you're going to create blisters. But this, it's not so. It's just going to fuse into the mud and done. So even on your first top coat, you're going to get it all, because you're going to go straight over the center of that first top coat, and then the other two coats you're going to fan it, float it out to the sides and get everything feathered in, as they say. Feathering, floating, fanning, all this terminology. Regardless of the terminology, I just want to get it done right. That's all I want to do, is get this damn stuff done. So we're going to, for a few hours here, I'm going to go through with my sanding block. I'm going to put my Tyvek suit on. I'm not wearing clothing to be mudding. We're doing that Saturday. I'll be coming day after tomorrow. I'm going to spend the day in here. We're going to do a third coat. And my goal is Saturday to have the ceiling done. That's my goal. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to wait until we get the walls in. I'm not going to worry about cleaning all the dust off of this, even though I might get a head start on the ceiling, because when I start getting the dust off the walls, it's going to hit the ceiling in. You want to take maybe a dust mop. You want to get all that drywall dust off in a good shop vac and get all that cleaned off before you prime. It's another thing I'm learning is you don't want all that stuff in there when you prime, because it's more sanding you got to do. So less sanding, the better. So my thing is I did a light sanding the other day and got this second coat on. Is the tool is going to knock down the high spots. You get little ridges, little highs, you just knock them down with your tool. A good 180 sanding sponge is what I'm learning. Is take that 180 sanding sponge, you just get everything sanded. So that's my goal, and we'll see what we can get done here and get it done here. I'm ready to get this house done. Jeez, we're getting there. Okay, so there's one other thing the other day I didn't mention, and I want to mention here. I said, well, the Harbor Freight tools were awful, and they may not have been, because I went to Lowe's and I've got 2 new knives just in case, and they were kind of doing the same thing. And they did the same thing because you get these things wet and they dry, it still gets a little bit of rust on them in it. I thought stainless did, but these are aluminum. But they say it doesn't hurt them. You just kind of sand it off a little bit. It's not going to hurt them. But one thing I realized I caught on, I was getting these little lines when I come across and smooth out the mud, is that on the top of these blades, if you're going to do drywall mud yourself, take some 150 or 180 sandpaper, or you can take a knife sharpener or some sort of a sharpening block and just go over the top of this at an angle really good. Sandpaper is good. And what it does is when they make these, machines cut them. And you just run your finger across like this, and if you feel little ridges, you've got to sand that stuff down. Like, there's one there. I really need to sand it some more. Sandpaper will knock that stuff down really well. So make sure you do that, because it'll save you a little grief, and you wonder why I should be getting a smooth thing, and it's scraping, and you get little scrape lines. But that's what that is. All right, so I guess I'm covered in drywall dust, just in my vase, not everything else. There we go. I've gotten a lot of just touch up and sanding done. Some places I've marked I'm gonna have to do, like if you can see up maybe some dots up there somewhere, I don't know. But one place that's crucial here is right above my head. Here, I'm gonna climb the ladder. You're gonna have this if you're doing your own drywall, folks. I'm learning this, and it sucks, man, but I've had to peel back all of that. If you can see right there, all of this drywall paper, because it was delaminated and moving. It's a little bit right there still, but I think the 90-minute mud, I can get all the way around here and fill this and get all that done. And I've got to fill it, that hardening mud, because if you don't, man, you don't want to put all-purpose around that and then go priming, because it's just going to keep delaminating. I've got another place over there right in the very corner. That's my weatherman crap again going there. Right over there in that corner. So it's you're going to have this stuff. It's frustrating, but, it is what it is. Little place right here where the paper delaminated, I just hit it with some primer. If you have paper just delaminated, hit it with some PVA primer. That's really all you need to do, and then go over it with some all-purpose mud. You don't ever want to mud over torn drywall unless it's 90-minute hard-setting mud, which is what I'm going to have to do here. This sucks, but it is what it is. I prepared on Saturday to come in. First thing is mix that stuff up, get it patched, get all that stuff done, and then, it'll dry pretty quickly. Like, that stuff sets within an hour, man. It's ready to roll. You sand it down a little bit, get it going, and just hit it with the all-purpose. And I won't have to do much. I may not even have to go over it with the all-purpose, depending on how smooth it is. But it's called easy sand for a reason. But other than that, my goal Saturday is come in here, third coat, get the ceiling done, have it done, ready to go. So when we get in here, get these walls in, all I got to do is mud the walls and get the corners in. We're good to go. Just a few days. What I'm probably got to do is take a good long weekend around that time, get all that done, get all 3 coats, and knock it out, get everything ready. Next step will be to get all the drywall dust off the walls. That's important. Get all your drywall dust. They're telling me to do this, and I'm doing it. You want to brush it all off and vacuum, and then take a damp cloth or a damp sponge, not soaked, but just damp, and wipe these joints and get all this drywall mud off the walls, because you don't want that in your primer. So when you do your reverse primer check, you don't have to be sanding on that. You don't want to do that. So, because you'll have to do 2 coats of primer on brand new drywall. That I'm told to. So some of you that know better, chime in below and tell me if I really need to do 2 coats of primer. I've always heard, and the way I feel is it just depends on your situation. Some yay and some nay. With me, probably 2 coats is the safest bet. So overall, though, things are looking pretty good. I kind of hope that doesn't fall until I get back here Saturday. It looks like it's about to fall out. Maybe it'll stay put, but we'll get it. But anyway, I'm going to jump off here. It's about all I can do this evening until Saturday and get in here. And my goal is to finish this ceiling Saturday, get everything ready to roll. And I don't think I'm going to be doing any sanding per se until I get all the drywall done. So I'll come in and maybe lightly hit some edges before I start doing the walls, very lightly. But really the only thing I'll do with the ceiling is you'll take some spackling compound, touch up a few places really quick after you do your sanding, and then get ready for prime. So other than that, see what we can get done Saturday. All right, so I'm back. I've double checked a few places I've got to fill with that hard mud, that easy sand 90. I need to get that filled in and done, let it dry. Takes about an hour. Get all that done. I mean, anywhere you get paper that's delaminating, bubbling, you need to get that cut off and get that hard mud on it so you can do it. So once I get the hard mud on it, get it smoothed out really well, I'll probably one quick layer of all-purpose and then it'll be good to go. But my goal today is to get this ceiling done. That is, we'll get the rest of the walls in, and then I'll tape and mud the walls, get the corners, and then we'll go back over and double check everything after we sand. One last pass, and then we'll be off to prime. So one thing at a time. I gotta get the rest of the walls in here that I gotta do. So right now I'm gonna mix that up. Like I said, that easy sand mud, it's called easy sand 90 sheetrock or USG 90. You get it at Lowe's. And in fact, hang on one second. This is the bag here, and it's way more than I'll ever need. I won't even use a third of this. It's just called Easy Sand 90. And I encourage you to get the 90-minute mud if you are not experienced on this, for the fact that stuff dries quick and you don't quite get 90 minutes. Because you gotta wait, once water hits that stuff, the clock starts ticking. So you get 45 minutes to an hour easy. But you just gotta move quick. And the key is just map out and know exactly everything you have to fill and get it done. So, you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. So that is key. I'm still keeping that bag because I may have to use it for the wall. So, I mean, like I say, they only sell it by that one size bag. So it's not really that expensive in the grand scheme of it all. So but let's see what we can get done here today. Shall we? All right, well, we've gotten about as much as we're going to do. I think this ceiling is done, folks. All right, I'm sure you're wondering why I'm holding these flags in my hand. I went and got some flags. We're going to flag off the front area where off my steps, I'm going to do some steel garden edging about 4 inches high around, and I'm going to put 4 inches of gravel up to my driveway off of my steps. So instead of doing paving bricks, we're going to do that. And later we could pave it if we can do it. It'd be easy to do. And that's something for down the road. Right now, I just want to get a really nice gravel path off the house, everything looking good. So once we get the house done, I can work on other things, because I may have mentioned this, I had to mention it again. I have got to put a French drain with catch basins down each side of my house and get it to this ditch back here. The water is crazy. But before we're going to do that, I'm going to do I measured just a little bit ago, I've got all the measurements. We're going to do the concrete barrier with mortar. I'm going to take two 2x10s, lock them together about only so thin, just thin enough to create a wall, a barrier for the water, sealed so it doesn't go under the house. And then we'll go, once we get done with the house, just inside the water line over here. I can't dig under it. We'll do this side and get everything elevated and let a pop-up diverter, let it pop up and hit into that drain. And do the same thing over here and just get all this water back here, but get it away from my house. But other than that, this ceiling, guys, as far as I'm concerned, is done. I've got to take some all-purpose right around where my smoke detector is. I had to tapping on it. That paper was delaminating. And if you're tapping on your drywall and you hear a like you're tapping on a brown paper bag versus to a solid wall, you can tell it's delaminating. Don't put mud over that. Cut that paper out to where it stops delaminating. Just get it all out and then cover. Take this Easy Sand 90 and just fill it in really good. Let it harden. Sand it down and get some all-purpose over it and smooth the surface. So I've got to touch up that. And place back there, I had a little hump I had to kind of knock down best I could and just I'll surface that and get that done. It'll look good. Other than that, this isn't going to be perfect. Listen, no matter what house you live in, your drywall is never perfect, folks. And I'm learning that. I've have several people on the internet, a lot of these drywall guys have been doing this 40 years or more, that say you're never going to have a perfect thing. You're always going to have just a little bit tiny of a bit of a gap. You're always going to have a little tiny bit of a hump. It's the blatant stuff. If you get it taped and fan it out to a certain degree, it should be fine. The center, as you can see, those joints that are the widest are where those were butt joints. But I had one kind of up in here uneven. But surprisingly, where I had my ceiling part, I had uneven drywall. It's probably about 1/8 of an inch off, lower than the other board or more. When I taped it, but before I taped it, I filled it with that hot mud and kind of floated it out just a little bit, kind of a little bit of a lip. And then when I taped it and mudded it, you can't even see it. It blows my mind. And it's an illusion. I mean, it's there. But when I'm rubbing my hand over it, I don't feel it all that blatantly. It's so slight because it goes towards where it goes down right there. So it's really cool. So anyway, I'm going to mark these flags, get that done. I'm done for the day with the ceiling. This week, if we can fit at the time coming up, Clancy and I get these walls in here, I can start taping the walls. So we're getting through it. I get all this done and get the paint. We can get the AC in over here on the wall. Clancy and I, the electrician comes put in the fixtures. We're getting power to the house. Then it's finishing time, folks. We're getting there. We're over the biggest of the hump. We're getting there. Just have to, the biggest of the work of this drywall is this ceiling. And I got that done. I'm so glad. So off to the next. All right, so I'm done for the day. I'm just sitting here thinking about all the stuff I've got to do, man. Like I've marked off the area in front of my porch. I'm going to get the edging and the liner. I'm going to call and see about 6 yards of gravel I'm going to need, so we'll get that done. That needs to happen soon because we're in wet season here until the summer. Of course, that's kind of wet season too, but it will dry out with the heat. But I've got to get all this stuff done over the winter. I've got to pack down all this dirt where they did the drain. It's soft. I've got to get it all packed down. I'm going to get all these roots cleaned up, all this stuff done, and just get everything ready. So when I do this and get the house done, I can start working on getting the driveway situated again and getting these drains put in. So one thing at a time, folks, but we're getting it done. We are definitely getting that done for sure. Off to the next, man. Let's see if we can. The ceiling is pretty much done. I'll do a little sanding on it. Nothing I can do on that until Clancy picks a day he's able to do it, and he and I get these walls in here, and then it's go time on that. I'm gonna get this stuff done and get it ready to get some power in this house so we can get it finished. So hoping mid-February to be in this house. That's what we're hoping. Craziest thing. Brisket on the board. Brisket on the board. What's going on, my friends? Well, you know me, when I'm on the road and I get near a Buc-ee's, there's no way I'm not stopping. It's not often that I hit this because this brisket is expensive. But man, is it good. Had to hit it. Had to. I'm telling you straight up, I had to do it. They have a sign posted out in front of Buc-ee's, man, and I'm going to tell you what, this place is killing it. But they paid their employees. An assistant general manager would make $125,000 a year. No, $150,000. 100 to 150. Car wash manager could make $125K a year. Food managers, same thing. Their employees are getting paid $18 up to $42 an hour. If you're assistant food service manager, you get up to $42 an hour. They say no experience necessary. Thing is, you get in here, you work, and you earn your way, you can do it. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. But you walk into one of these Buc-ee's and they're killing it. You've never seen so much brisket. Go off the shelf. I've never seen so many people in my life. I'll bet you right now, in this parking lot, there's probably 2,000 people in this Buc-ee's. It's half the size of a Walmart. It's that crazy. God. It is nuts. But anyway, folks, we go in tomorrow. We get to finish the walls. I start taping and mudding, hopefully this weekend, getting everything done. Being that Monday's New Year's, I think New Year's Day, I'll spend some time working on it as well. Get this done and get on with it. The next few weeks here, we'll start seeing good transformation in the house. I got some gravel, hopefully coming Tuesday. Be able to get 6 yards of gravel. We're going to do the front area. I got to get the border for all that, like I was talking about. We're going to get all that done. It's going to be cool. So, other than that, man, I'm gonna eat this brisket. You better believe it. And head back to Charleston. Let's see what we can get done tomorrow, shall we?